now just to see if that's what was holding us up, because I didn't have it recording. I'm not in the picture because there's only one camera on that. Let's see if I need this.
I see a table.
So I get me filled in. Perfect. Let me just raise my screen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. We're recording actually already.
All right, I think I'm gonna cut my phone off.
All right, I will too. We'll talk about this. All right.
All right, can you still hear me?
I just wanted to make sure we were with that on power. No. Because she was like, "Where are you?" And I meeting, and I was like, "I need productive."
Yeah. All good.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You okay?
Yeah,
I'm at a funny angle. How's that?
yeah.
All right. So we can edit down whatever we say. So I'll just start with some general questions, and we'll go from there. How's that sound?
Yep. Let me close my door so Peter Pang will listen to us and like write everything down. All right. Well, there's some high level operations stuff up there.
We were worried about the quality of these images, but I think for what we're looking at, which is mostly conversations, I think it'll be okay. We don't need like that, what we were shooting for with pearls. I think mostly it could just be voices, but faces will help.
Okay.
The still images look good on the website. If you look through now, those are just FaceTime. We have more control of the editing material. We were using Final Cut to pull it right off FaceTime, but this is so much logistically easier. Conceivably, I think like any associate editor could interview any author or any resident even who wrote the questions and under somebody's supervision to pull this off.
Okay.
And all they have to do is link me in now, and we grab the video from here, and Scott can edit it down to whatever we want, which is
right.
Well, anyway, so do you want to get started?
Yeah. Who'd you say could edit it down? Scott?
Scott joined.
Oh, okay.
He's very adept at it. I'll try to get him to teach more and more people to do it, so it's easier. It doesn't just come down to him. But at this point, he's got the technique mastered. He can do it in a lot less time, I think. He's got the quality part down and putting bits together. So it's gosh, what's the name of the new journals?
Academic Emergency Medicine and Education Training, AEM, ENT.
All right. All right, so I'll just get started. Hi, this is Jim Miner, and I'm here interviewing the editor-in-chief of Academic Emergency Medicine, Dr. Jeff Kline. And today we're going to talk about the new journal coming out, Academic Emergency Medicine, Education and Training. Dr. Kline, can you give us a little background on the new journal?
Well, the first thing is, why don't we call it AEM ENT? Boy, it's quite a mouthful for it to be Academic Emergency Medicine, Education, and Training. So that's one of the things we're trying to move toward is rebranding the journal as more AEM and AEM ENT, just to start. But the history of AEM ENT really goes back for me personally, I mean, all the way to high school. I mean, let me just tell you a personal story that, when I grew up, man, there wasn't any chance anybody thought Jeff Kline was ever going to be a doctor until I met a teacher. And that teacher, I got him on my wall right here. This is just something I'm sort of spitballing here. But this is Robert Somm, and he was my chemistry teacher in high school. And he changed my life. If it wasn't for that guy, I wouldn't be, anything. I'm not saying I'm anything, but I'm an editor-in-chief of a journal.
Right.
That guy transformed my life. So I think teachers transform lives. So that's a little one second thing about my personal story going back. And, so knowledge is power. And it's important for us in emergency care to leverage the power of teaching that we do in medical schools across the country. I mean, you think about it, so many students come into our emergency department and have, if they've done a lumbar puncture, it's kind of more like they started it. Many don't know how to do a pelvic exam. They don't know how to ask a patient if they're suicidal or talk to a mom that's got a baby with a fever. And we teach them to do all this stuff. We teach them to be doctors. And our knowledge is power. And until now, the educators, the trainers, the teachers in emergency care really didn't have a home to publish their work and to publish their science. So this is the first education training journal in emergency care, and one of the first that's kind of specialty specific that's going to be out there in publication.
Sure.
So I'm super excited just from a personal and professional aspect to be able to get this thing started.
It sounds like a really cool opportunity and a great way for SAM too to kind of extend its academic mission.
Yeah, think about this. What was the name of our society formed from? It was the Union of Academic Emergency Medicine and the Society for Teachers of Emergency Medicine. So from the very start, SAM has been half folks that were interested in knowledge creation at the bench or by going out and writing an IRB and collecting original data, what we might call sort of hypothesis testing research. And those people that consider themselves the teachers, the knowledge transfer experts. So we're 50-50. We've been that way a long time. And, I had the privilege of serving on the board of SAM and was president of the society.
Yeah.
And another little personal note, while I was president, the Council of Residency Directors, which is, sort of part of this knowledge creation pathway or, rubric, if it were, they actually quit using SAM as its management source and went to the American College of Emergency Physicians. Now, I'm not saying we lost cord, but we sort of lost some connection there. Sure. And this journal, I hope, helps create a unifying force for educators within SAM and helps put them on the same parity as researchers, because I think I've heard for years from educators that they just didn't feel they had a platform for people to see what they had to bring to bear. And
Sure.
Now they do.
Yeah. So how do you make a new journal?
I really don't know. I'm making it up as I go.
Sure.
Got to get a lot of help, and the help in this form is I'm going to be the editor-in-chief of this journal, but the real brains and the real work is Susan Promise. Careful of the last name, Promes, and for those of you who don't know her, it's not Promes, it is Promise. I promise you she's the right pick. She's the chair of emergency medicine at Hershey Penn State. Busy lady, but if you want something done, you ask a busy lady to do it, and she is a phenomenal dynamo and has picked a great editorial board. So you start with the right people, and the right editor is Susan Promise, and she's picked the right board that includes 4 PhD education specialists that are true, what I would call methodology experts. And so we're going to create the infrastructure of decision editor board as well as reviewers to make sure that this journal has the highest rigor in terms of education methodology. You asked about how to build a journal. One of the most important things is getting it indexed on PubMed and Medline, and then getting it an impact factor. And those two things are going to be a process that take up to 2 to 3 years. So we do ask folks to be patient with us. Once we get it registered on PubMed, everything that you publish in our journal, AEM ENT, will retrospectively show up, and then of course it will have an impact factor. So you just need to be a little patient with us, but send us all your education and training papers.
Should authors consider sending their work to the regular journal and it'll be turned over, or should they decide which one they want to try to put it in?
Yeah, perfect timing on that question, because after June 15th, we will actually not review any more education or training related papers at AEM. And instead, the authors are going to get an email from me that says, we'd love to have you submit this to AEM ENT, which will have a website open probably in late July or early August. We'll just ask them to hold on to the paper and resubmit it. We won't really be able to roll it over. We'll have to ask them to resubmit it de novo. Or they could, of course, submit it somewhere else, which would be less desirable. So after June 15th, we won't peer review any more work from AEM.
Well, it sounds like as an author, there's not a lot of other great options where they'd have that kind of an expertise in an editorial board to look at an educational work.
Well, this one's going to be specific for emergency care, but again, having the methodology experts on it. And if you look at this board, it includes representatives of the CORD, folks that do undergraduate, what I would call undergraduate work, meaning medical school, clerkship type training. So we're going to go across the board of medical education. We will also consider work that's done pre-hospital. We consider training of emergency care providers within our scope. And that would include nurses and paramedics, but we are going to be the premier journal for transferring knowledge to anyone who wants to elevate the human condition of people during times of emergency. And that includes all type of care providers, ranging from nurses to paramedics to physicians.
Should the submissions all be research about education, or they can be more specific review papers, things like that about education?
Well, I've lost track of the number of categories that the editorial board has put together, but they range from educational concepts to actual implementation and to allowing a number of papers of things that were tried and failed. So I think that the editorial board recognizes that many of us try to implement teaching and training protocols or methodology that doesn't work. And they want to allow a forum for people to present and discuss what I call failures, but I might call learning experiments in education.
So if an author has an idea for a manuscript that maybe isn't prepared yet, should they maybe check with Dr. Promise to see if that's the kind of thing the journal's looking for?
Yeah, I ask for that all the time. I think that's right. If they send it to me, I'm just going to confer with her, but you can also send them to me. And I probably look at a manuscript maybe every other day like that. And it's fine with me because I think it helps save everybody time. And that's kind of part of my job as an editor-in-chief, is in some ways to be an Uber mentor for people and to take a look at their work and try to help them know whether it's a good fit or not. It's not necessarily manuscripts. You asked about different types. For example, we will be examining multimedia formats, including videotapes of lectures, much like what was envisioned for the Pearls submissions at AEM, which will now port over to AEM ENT. And also like dynamic emergency medicine at AEM, which is basically a videotape lecture. And Rex Ryan thinks LeBron James, oh, sorry, you can cut that out, right?
Oh yeah, we can edit.
I figure. Much of, let's see, we're going to take Pearls over. Oh, and we won't take any more educational advances at AEM. I think the other thing I wanted to get across was that we are not sure about how much the content that comes into AEM ENT can be dynamic, meaning that because it's going to be all online, there may be the opportunity to have like side blogs that discuss different papers where educators can have a chance to have a to and from debate or discussion, not necessarily on Twitter, but like on a side discussion board about the paper. And it may even be that those blogs end up creating a dynamic document where later the manuscript can be revised, of course, with a audit trail to show that. I think that's the future of publishing, is that papers are not going to become these static time stamps that literally are galvanized in aluminum like they used to be. They now will be documents that can be revised and improved over time. And we're anxious to see if we can do something like a dynamic document to make them better over time. Kind of like Cochrane Analysis is doing now. You know, they're constantly updating their analyses.
It's pretty exciting. You know, we've been talking about making changes like that for a long time. It's cool to see, you know, finally experimenting with that and seeing if we can get it going. It sounds like a new journal is the best opportunity we're going to have to try stuff.
I don't think that this journal will look and feel exactly like any other journal that you've ever seen before. But being a new journal, and that I haven't seen it and I've never published an online journal, there's going to be a learning curve.
Sure. Well, it sounds like an exciting time and a great opportunity for emergency medicine, especially emergency medicine educators.
I think this journal will start off with probably, I would guess, 400 submissions in year one. And I will bet by year two that it has 1,000 submissions. I bet it has 3 a day by year two, and even more after that. And it will grow. We'll publish quarterly initially, but then I think we'll have to go to monthly very fast.
Sure.
And, you know, there will be a need for all types of providers. And I even heard that, for example, that mid-level providers are going to need to do things that are similar to fellowships and publish in them. And I'm told the American Academy of Osteopathic Emergency Medicine is going to have some type of new publication requirement. So there will be a burgeoning need, or a larger need, for a venue to publish in emergency care, education and training. As a side, just you and me, have you heard that thing about the mid-level providers and the?
I have heard about that.
Yeah. Let me tell you, I don't want to hold you up, but like I want to tell you a funny story. Was when we put out this email to the editor, to the reviewers for AEM, to say, would you like to also review for AEM ENT? And if you say yes, you'll get to review for AEM ENT, but we're not taking you off AEM unless you ask to be taken off AEM, right? And
right.
So I'm sitting here at my phone, you know, I'm sitting here with this phone, and I get this call, and the voice at the other end says, Greg Henry, I just want to let you know that that move sounds okay to me. And he starts talking to me, and I have no idea that he's referring to that email that I sent out. I'm like 90% sure that he thinks he's talking like to his scheduler, who is scheduling him in some area of the ER that he hadn't worked in a long time. And,
Yeah, right.
And he starts talking about the mid-level providers and how they're going to have to get fellowship training. And ultimately, after like listening to him for about 5 minutes, he basically goes through, and he apparently knows what he's talking about. And he describes this thing to me about how these advanced practitioners are going to have to publish, you know, and have to have a forum for it. So that's the bizarre way that I heard about it.
That's awesome.
I've never talked to him before. I just, you know, I don't know how he got my phone number. He just called it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think we probably have enough.
Yeah.
I want to keep it down to 5 minutes. We're probably at like 10 now.
Yeah, you can just cut half of it.
But thanks for doing, you know, this should be, because if this works, it'd be really nice to just get, especially when we have a prominent author published, just to get somebody to interview them.
Yeah.
And talking about easy publications, this would be a, you know, it wouldn't be a publication, but I guess it'd be a non-peer review publication if we put it up for a resident or a fellow or something.
Yeah. Yeah. For, if you did a fellow on a big paper, for example. Yeah.
It's they're good exposure. We did that one with that CPR one. That thing got looked at a lot.
Did it?
The guy that got interviewed just noticed. He's like, everyone knows who I am because my video was on the website for so long. I'm like, it's good enough. It's a good way to introduce an author out to everybody.
Good. Well, if he says you'll give this to Scott and he'll chop it up, or
yeah, we'll chop it up and send it to you. I imagine he'll do it today or tomorrow. It doesn't take very long at this point. Once we have video, it's He learned how to do with the dynamic emergency medicine stuff. I suppose AEM ENT will probably want our Vimeo site, or when they set up a new Vimeo site. It doesn't matter what
I don't know.
Video.
I mean,
talk to.
we'll probably need to keep Vimeo at AEM because we'll do something that requires.
Yeah,
It-
essentially it's just a housing site. The only thing that's nice about it is it's locked, so you have to get the link from us to open it. So we put the link on the website. You can't go to Vimeo to get to it. You have to go to AEM's website.
Yeah. By the way, did you hear about this journal that the UC Irving people are going to publish?
No.
It's like associated with GEM, and it's JET, Journal of Emergency Training, I think. So
Let's see how that goes.
what's
Yeah.
that?
It seems like it's about the same thing as what AEM ENT is going to be.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny that Mark Langford was calling me, asking me all kind of questions about ENT and
Yeah.
how am I doing this? And I was like, I didn't give him any answers. And then the next thing I know, that thing comes out. And as we are told, it's going to be more like MedEd Portal, and it's not really. We're not even positive it's going to be peer reviewed, but it's another one. So I'm just kind of pretending like it doesn't exist when I.
I wonder if they have commercial interests, like they're going to charge for.
They said not. I thought they would, but they said not. They're using that UC Irving publishing platform.
Yeah, right.
But then again, they might start and then start publishing or start.
I think this is totally the way to go because moving all this experimental stuff to AEM ENT, I think allows AEM to just be a little bit crisper.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to get any ideas to fly because this didn't fit with our platform of kind of limited papers,
It sounds like a broken record and it sounds hackneyed, but man, I just got to get our impact factor up. It's the best thing I can do for our specialty and our society and for us. So
the society needs to be split because then the high impact stuff's in one journal and the low impact stuff's in another, and we all still get it. So it doesn't matter to the members.
Hey, I had to get this stuff is no impact.
Yeah, it's always zero impact. Always.
It's really important, but it doesn't get cited, and that's one of the reasons the impact factor sucks for us is it doesn't do education well, but it will do okay for everything that's left over. And we need to have an impact factor of 4 or 5 for the sake of our training, our specialty.
We need it to keep the good papers. Our papers are kind of leaking. A lot of our best stuff leaks to other specialties journals.
It does. Yeah. We're working on it, man.
I'll get this together and get it to you in the next day or two.
Cool.
Well,
all right.
Time on this.
Hope it works.
All right. It will. It'll be easy. All right. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Bye, man. Thanks for your work.
Oh, yeah. Bye.